Assignment number 3. Before we can do assignment number 3, we actually have to understand what assignment number 3 is about. So it's about a stack and a queue. It is about a data structure that you will probably end up using a lot with Java. Don't freak out, because this one is actually going to still be due next week. Hello? Thank you. Okay. So we're going to create a stock object that is going to, it's actually easier than last assignment. So I guarantee it. We'll have most of it done. We're just going to do the stack today. This is stack and queue. What's due next week is the first half we're going to do in class, stack. Next week, just like what we did with assignment number 1, we're going to finish it, and we'll do the queue in class. So if you want to turn it in, and you don't want to wait until next week, or not next week, 2 weeks from now. So number 2, you can turn in anytime you want when you're done with it within the next 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you can either turn this one in with just the stack, or you can wait for part 2, which is going to have the queue part of it. A stack and a queue are data structures. They're container data structures. They're used to hold items. We're going to put items into this container, and we're going to push them on, and we're going to pop them off, and I'm going to talk about the stack terminology for you a little bit, and then you'll see it working with the program. Next time, we're going to start with data structures. So I'm going to give you more on the data structure concept. I'm just going to introduce the assignment. We're going to work through the objects and the object-oriented programming part of it. So we have this object. It's called a stock. A stock is like a security. I'm sure, well, if you're rich enough, you bought Microsoft stock back before Google stock or Yahoo stock. And it's increased in value significantly, hopefully, over the years. It's an investment kind of thing. Companies and people often buy and sell stock. I just don't want to interrupt. Can I talk now? Are we done? Okay. There we go. All right. Often they buy the same one, at different prices. So often you buy the same stock with different prices. Say a person owns 1,000 shares of a certain stock, such as a Checkpoint or Google or something. She might have bought, or he might have bought stock in amounts of 100 shares over 10 different times, let's say, with 10 different prices. And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to analyze 2 different approaches to the accounting. It's just ridiculous. Can you guys, if you're going to talk, can you please just go outside? Thank you. We're still talking. Yeah, I'm waiting for you to finish. We're going to analyze 2 approaches to accounting. First in, first out, last in, first out. They're used with stacks and queues. I'll go over the theory for that next time, but let's just kind of get the concept of what it is. So we're going to have this object called the stock. We're going to stick the stock object inside of another container to hold on to it, to organize it. It's sort of like sticking items in an array. If you remember earlier, we were talking about integer arrays and string arrays. We stuck many of the same data type all in the same structure, and we call it, well, it's not a structure, it's an array. Now we're going to create an object and stick objects inside of the object. So we're not talking about inheritance in this example, or this exercise. This exercise is all about using objects with other objects. So it's kind of nifty, something we can do. So the information is typically calculated when a stock is information is calculated for profit and loss when a stock is sold. So we have a buying price, we have a selling price, and we have calculations that we're going to perform on it. And you might sell them in different increments. And in this particular, I'm leaving out a lot of the details right now. And you can read through this assignment on your own later and get what we're going to do in the second half. But for today, what we're going to do is focus on the stack. And you're going to end up creating both a stack and a queue. And we're going to have a stock that's going to have the name of the stock, the number of shares of the stock, and a purchase price of the stock. And we're going to assume that each element in each security is bought in the order in which we're putting it into the container. And then we're going to put a little menu. I'm not going to do the menu today. We're going to do the menu next time as well. So what we're going to do today is create the stock object and stick the stocks inside of a stack. And then you can finish it on your own, or we can finish it next time. So don't worry about not turning it in. So I'm going to skip the menu until next time. And the menu is going to basically give us the option to enter in a new stock, find a stock, press 1, press 2, press 3. But we're going to have to take the loop stuff we looked at earlier and do a do loop or do while and go through a bunch of sets and things. So let's just create a stock actually at this point. And the information we want for the stock is right here. Both your stack and your queue are going to have the following fields for the stocks. So the stock, let's just do that concept. And I have a template for the concept up here. So I'm going to use that as a cheat sheet so that I can speed through the creation of this. And but that one wasn't done in Eclipse, so I'm going to do it in Eclipse this time. So File, New, Java Project, and this one's going to be called Assignment Number 3. So Assignment 3. I'll stick Assignment 3 Part 1 out on the same directory when I'm done with it today. So if you run into the same problem, because I am going to go through this awfully quickly, if you run into the same problem, don't worry about it. You can download what you have at the end of the day. Okay, so I'm going to press on Finish. And now I have Assignment Number 3. This is kind of the pattern for all of the projects that you'll be creating. So click on the source code folder, File, New, Class, and this one's called Stock. So a capital S-T-O-C-K, Stock. Did you need? Okay, great. Thank you. Did you get everything you needed?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're wonderful.
Thank you. Okay, we got stock. So, did you get on me yelling at the students? Here's the class stock. I don't even need my cheat sheet, but I'm gonna go back to here. I'm gonna name, shares, and price. Okay. So what does that tell us? We already know how to do this, right? I'm gonna go string name, and what else we're gonna have? Price? No, number of shares. I'm gonna do that integer for that. Int shares. I'm gonna go num shares. And then double price. And now I'm going to make them all private. So I'm going to add private to it. Yes? Oh, let's hold on a second. When you say it's not the one I used to use, that leads me to believe you've got something on your screen that, let me get the right. Let me pause this video then, temporarily. So I changed my number of shares to shares because I don't like long names. So if you are not comfortable doing this, what we've done so far, I would just do it over and over again. Like make up your own programs with your own themes. You can do like the Homer Simpson family or something, just like what we did with Jurassic Park or something. The more you get familiar and more comfortable with working with some of the features, you're learning the interface and you're also learning the programming simultaneously. So it's not bad to practice it. Anyway, so I have a double. This is a new one I haven't used yet, similar to float. Double will allow me to do like $12.50, where an integer would only be $12. So float is the same, except for double is 2 decimal precision by default. Float is 3 or more. Larger precision, used for more scientific stuff. And when you're working with numbers like dollar amounts, it's better to use double. It's just, actually, double is more precise in terms of the rules associated with the rounding and everything than float, because it's meant to to bring it down to double precision. So, it's a little bit more reliable. So what are we going to do next? Actually, you can probably guess. Setters and getters. So I'm going to click right here. You can do them in any order. I always do the setters and getters first, because I already did the fields. I might as well get the setters and getters out of the way. So I'm going to go up here. I have clicked underneath my data, and I'm going to come up here and go File, and, excuse me, I'm going to go Source, and I'm going to go Generate Setters and Getters, and I'm going to select Name, Price, and Shares, and I'm going to go ahead and press OK. And look at that. I just did 20 minutes worth of work if I did it by hand. And what do I do after the setters and getters? Constructor. So I'm going to go up to Source, and I'm going to go down to Constructors using fields. Now I'm not going to select constructors from superclass because superclass here is just object and I don't have any. So that's why I'm going to select this one here. It says constructor using fields. If I do that, I'm just going to make 2. I'm going to have them all selected and then I'm going to come in one more time and I'm going to deselect them all. Why? Because I want both options. You might want, there's 1, 2, 3 more options you could possibly do if you wanted, or 4 or 5 options. Yeah, just take all the different combinations. But instead, I'm just going to do this. So I have my constructor that sets them all. And then I'm going to have my constructor that doesn't set anything. So I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to go down to generate constructors for fields, and I'm going to unselect everything. And now I have my default constructor. So I got my default constructor, and I got my constructor that sets them all. Looking pretty good. I don't say so myself. Okay, good. I did say so myself. Okay. So let's see. Let's see. I think we're done with the stock, actually. Let's go take a look at the assignment description, see if we are. Stock is just going to hold on to the items that we're buying. We're going to buy some stock. We're going to sell some stock. We have the number of shares, we have the price, and we have the name of the stock. So we're pretty good with this. I'm pretty good with this so far, actually. So as an object, it's a pretty standalone, reusable object. I can put it in and use it any way I want. So let's make a main program now. And what are we going to call the main program? Analysis. Stock. Oh, yeah, Pacific. What is it? The Pacific Exchange? No, the New York Stock Exchange? Stock Exchange. There we go. So I'm going to press on SRC directory, go to File, New. Oops, File, New Class. I'm creating another class. And this is going to be the New York Stock Exchange. Oh, Dow Jones? All right, Dow Jones. I'm just going to go Stock Exchange. I don't want to commit myself to one or the other. Because somebody on YouTube is going to tag this and go, you can't use that name. That's copyright infringement. I'm like, okay, you know, let's go generic here. Let's just go Stock Exchange. And I'm going to click this little one here that says public static void main. Because I want there to be a main method. And lo and behold, I get this, Stock Exchange. And it has a main method. Could you pass it this way? If you haven't. No? What's wrong? You only have to sign one of them. Okay. Send it this way, and we'll send it around it more and more times. As long as I get it back at the end, I'm good. You have to sign one or the other. You don't have to sign both. We just wanted to divide it out, and that was a really big piece of paper. Okay, let's make some stock. So I'm going to do stock space new, or no, what am I going to call it? Google. Let's call it Google 1. Actually, let's just call it Google. Equals new stock. And the name, let's go back and look at the constructor I did in stock now. Name, shares, and price is the order. So name, I'm going to call it Google. Shares, I'm going to buy 100 shares. And the price, how much is Google price? Seriously? $570 a share? Well, wow. 623? Oh my God. We've got accurate, up-to-date pricing here. Should we do Yahoo next? Yeah, I think we're going to do Yahoo. What is the Yahoo price? Stock, $38? Yahoo! It's equal to new Yahoo. Wow, that's pretty sad. Yahoo. I only want 5 shares of that. A new Yahoo, new stock, thank you. It is the end of the day. New stock. How much was it again? $38 a share. Let's do Apple. Stock Apple. After Barbara teaches her class and everyone buys a new MacBook, the stock will be 124. That's it? Wow, I can afford to. Well, you know what? I'm gonna change my number at Google. I'm gonna buy one Google stock. I like Apple stock better. Well, maybe I'll buy 10. 10. That way, if I sell some, I have some left. 5. And let's do 10 of the Apple. Let's do 20 of the Apple stock. How much was that again? 123. I can afford that. Okay, 123. So now you see I have purchased some stock. I've created some stock. I can run my setters and my getters if I want to, but I think we're bored doing that already. Instead, I want to create a stack now. And then I'm going to stick the stocks inside of the stacks. Stocks inside of stacks. Yeah, it does work. So we have this thing up here at the top that we're going to do, and we haven't done this yet, so I have to describe to you what this is. It's called an import. We're going to import from java.util. We're going to import this concept of the stack so we can make a stacked object. Stack. Let's see. Let's see if I got the import correct. That's why I put these guys up here. Not this one. This one. This one. Stack with a capital S. So that's why I did this. Capital S in stack. And no asterisk at the end. So util has a bunch of stuff in there. It has stacks. It has queues. If you want to include, for example, just the util directory, you would go java.util, which are Java utilities. And you get this dot asterisk, which means give me everything from that subfolder. But I don't necessarily need everything from that subfolder. Either one of these would actually work. Well, actually no, stack, you have to go to the subfolder of stack. It's not a package, it's an import. It's kind of like an include. If you're familiar with C or C++, they use include. And include, you would include iostream.h and string.h. Actually, in Java in the old days, people used to include string, all the same things. And then what they did is they ended up creating packages and making them available in the bin directory and basically made it a lot easier. So we actually haven't ever had to write an include or an import so far. So what we're doing now with the assignments is we're starting to use some of the core Java built-in classes. And one of them is stack. So I could create a stack just like I created a stock. I can come down here and say stack, my stack, is equal to new stack. And now I've created an instance of this object stack. Stack's not in my project. My project has stock and stock exchange, but I imported stack, the object stack, from the Java util folder. In the Java util folder, if you look at it, contains the collection framework. And then what I've done now is I've hovered my mouse over, and so far I've been trying to get rid of these little pop-up screens, but now I kind of want it because it's going to give you information about what it is we just did. It has the collection framework in it. Collections are for the Java data structures. And the collection itself is it's part of a container. And it's basically just like a Tupperware container. Or, like a lunch bag, you throw stuff in it. Or a Ziploc bag, you throw stuff in it. Stack is very similar to that. So the container style, it holds stuff. But it holds it in a particular order. So for example, we can pop and push things on. And I'm going to show you something real quick here, actually. Let me just make sure. I'm going off of a previous example. Yeah, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Yeah. We need to do a toString on a print, but I'll show you something here. So if I have my stack, a push operation pushes something and puts something onto the stack. A pop is something that takes it off of the stack. And so if we think about it, let me pull out a piece of, normally I'd write this on a board, so I'm trying to figure out how I want to demonstrate. I'm going to demonstrate this way. So here's how a stack works. It's first in, first out. Jesus. First in, first out. So if I was putting an item in, I'd push an item. So I'm going to push 1. I would push 2. And I'm going to push 3. If I do that, my data structure, first in, first out, is going to look like 1, 2, 3. The data isn't in the opposite order because I pushed on 1, pushed on 2, pushed on 3. So my stack actually looks like this. 1's on the bottom. If these were rows, and imagine this being like like rows of data. Like if I were to draw this out, I'd put like a box around it and put like a little row here. If I do what's called a pop takes one off. So if I pop, let me just do pop once. If I do pop once, and I don't say pop anything, because pop just puts and looks at the end of it. So now my data structure looks like this. 1 pop took the 3 off. If I do pop again, I get 1. It takes the 2 off. So they both work on the top. So if I have this and I go push, and I push 4, then I end up with this. 4, 1. Oh, it's like way over here. I was like, what are you guys looking at? It's like almost behind me. Hold on 1 second. Let me move it this way on the screen. There we go. So let me go back through this again so you guys can actually see this. Now that it's way over here. So I push 1, push 2, push 3. I get 1, 2, 3. Because this event's going to take this one event's going to do this one. So this is the order. It's a list. This is like a list, but it's ordered differently. If I pop it, and this is the instruction to pop, so I'm going to put like method calls here. I'm going to go push 1, push 2, push 3, and then pop. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Everybody sign the roster?
No, not about the roster.
Okay, no, wait, before I stop, anyone not sign the roster? Everybody sign the roster? Okay, good. Yes?
What does push and pop mean?
They're methods that we're going to run to manipulate the structure. I'm going to give you an example in a few minutes that might actually help for a second. These are methods that we're going to run on the stack. For example, out here, I can say my stack dot push. And then push, what am I going to push? Google. The name of my object here, Google. Now I've just put Google onto my stack. And so the pop and the push, so what I did is I just did this. I said Google. And so this one here says Google. These are my objects. Instead of numbers, I'm putting objects on. So then if I do another line of code here, and I say my stack dot push, and then now I'm going to push Yahoo on here. These are the names of the objects I've created in my stack dot push Apple. So now I have Google, Yahoo, Apple. So in here I've got Google, Yahoo, Apple. And my methods for doing it was Google, Yahoo, Apple. And then if I pop, then I'm going to have Yahoo and Google. And Apple's going to go away. So I would run it the same way. I would go right here and go my stack dot pop. And pop doesn't take on any parameters. Pop just pulls it off. Pop it off the top. So let me give you a real life example of this stack, this first in, last out. Yeah, the first one in is the last one out. The last one in, or if you want to think of it this way, the last one in is the first one out. All right, let's go to domestic experience here, the dishwasher. Or you know those little automatic dishwashers, you load it all up with all the dirty plates. And then you go to the cabinet to take the plates that are freshly cleaned from the dishwasher and you're going to stick them in the cabinet. That is called, and this is the true life definition in Java programming, it's a stack of plates. So a stack of plates, imagine this. The cabinet is empty. You're going to put one down. You're going to go to the dishwasher, pull another one, put it on top, put it on top, pull it on top. You're not going to pick up the whole stack and put them underneath. You just go one on top of the other. And then when you, later on, after you've unloaded all the dishes from the dishwasher and you put them in the cabinet, you're going to start using the plates. What do? You open it up and you pull one off the top. So you pop it off. So you push it on to stack them up, and then you pop them off to take them off. Here's what ends up happening in the real world if you haven't experienced this yet. The ones on the bottom are new, because they never get used. The ones on the top are all broken and chipped, because they're going to get used constantly. Unless you use all the plates. So what I do is, like, if I'm having guests coming over, I just pull the ones from the bottom. Because I know that those are new. I mean, they're practically brand new, especially if you have like a dozen plates and there's only like 2 or 3 people. Yeah, you just pull them off. You're never going to use all the plates. If you do, you have to wash them too much. So, you just pile them up, stick them in the dishwasher, shut the door, you didn't forget about them, right? It's a real life scenario here. So, same thing with cups. Stack all the cups up. You're going to pull them off the top. You're not going to go down to the bottom to pull one out. Long story short, if you don't rotate the stack, some of the items on the stack always stay on the stack. So it's a data structure used in programming to keep track of things in the same type of fashion for different purposes. Obviously, we don't care about breaking. I mean, with a stack of plates, you go off the top, push them onto the top, you take them off of the top because they're fragile and you don't want to break them. They get broken anyway. But if you constantly had to pull from the bottom, you'd have a problem. But that scenario doesn't work at the bank. If I were at the bank and I had 5 people walk through the door, a bank is a queue. So they say wait in the queue. If you're in the queue, every foreign language, everybody says queue. I'm in the queue. That means I'm waiting and I'm ordered in the priority that I have arrived. So I come in one end and I come out the other. First come, first serve. So Q, spelled like that, is the opposite. It's first in, first out. So I'm the first person at the bank. I stand in the front of the line. So a queue works like this. A queue is I'm the first one in, I'm the second one in, I'm the third one in, I'm the fourth one in. And when I go to use it, you're going to get used first, you're going to get used second, you're going to get used third. It's the first one. Okay, so if you think of a queue, think about the queue at the grocery store, waiting in line, at the bank, when they want to be fair. Because if the last person who walked through the bank was the first person who got served, there would be a riot, people would shoot everybody, and the bank would close. We'd have no more banking system. So, if you want to be fair, but we don't really care about being fair in the stock world. But we're going to do both, and we're going to see how the accounting is different. Because if we're just pushing items on and taking items off, you might notice we have absolutely no order. So in the arrays, we have index values, 0, 1, 2, 3, and we have different ways of keeping track of those indexes. And the way we keep track of those indexes is by the index value. Here we have no index value. Instead, we don't care how many items we put on. We just put them on. We don't care. So essentially what we're going to do is put all the stock. In fact, I just put all the stock on here. I'm looking at the time right now, and I really don't want to get too far into this. So this one will be due, but we're going to do it in class next time. We're going to finish it. So don't worry about finishing this one, but I wanted to introduce this concept to you, and we've made a good progress here. You want to get the stock built. You want to get the basic structure. This isn't really going to do anything right now. If I run it, what am I going to see when I run it? Nothing, because I don't have any system outs or anything. But let's make this actually do something. So there's what's called a toString method that returns a string. So I'm going to stick that in the stock method, stock object, because I want to be able to print something to the screen. And so I wrote the code here in this example, and I'm going to kind of copy it over. No, I don't have it in this one. Can run this one. No, actually, I want to pull it out. I want to just write it from scratch. I'm going to put this new method in stock on the bottom. And so it's going to be public string, because it's going to return a string, toString. toString is going to add the return statement. Yes, name. There we go. It's going to return a string, and in this particular case, it's going to be this.name, which is the stock name. I have to be able to tell which items are in which location to print something to the screen. Otherwise, if I try to print the stock as an object, I'm going to get a memory address. So toString is a method that belongs to object, and I'm overriding it in stock so that I don't print out the memory address. In object, it prints out the memory address. So without this method in here, I get the memory address. If I want something to be meaningful, I'm going to print out the name of my stock. So if I run .toString, I get the name. So for example, let's go back to the code for a second. I'm just going to use it right here. I'm going to say Google.toString is going to give me toString, but I'm going to put it in a system out. So I'm going to go system out dot print line first stock is plus Google.toString. Print line, there we go. Correct my typos. See what this says. Looks like I need to put an extra return here. There we go. There we go. So now I have system.out print line first stock is Google.toString. So now if I print it, now if I run it, I see first stock is Google. I'm getting that because I'm running this method toString. I could change the method, call it something else, like getName. We have getName actually. I could run getName. I don't have to run getString. Now I could also, so I've loaded the items up in here. When I pop them off, I can pop them off and add them to a variable. I can see what they are and I can manipulate them. I can do a lot with them actually. So what we're gonna do, I'm still gonna upload this. So at the end of today, you can download this one if you've missed any part of this so far. This is assignment number 3 to start. So we'll finish it. Don't bother finishing this unless you want to challenge yourself. Finish this on your own for when we meet in 2 weeks. But I want to tell you about something else, unless we have questions right now before I stop this part of it. No, okay, good, because I'm looking at the time and I want to be mindful. I don't want to keep us later than we're supposed to be. All right. So hold all these thoughts. We'll continue this like we did assignment number 1. And I want to go into the class for a second. If I can find the Sophia website. There we go. And I want to remind you of something, actually. I'm going to talk about the midterm exam next week. Let's see. I thought I had this in here. Stay logged in. Let's see. I thought I had this loaded, but let's go load it again. What is wrong with the screen? don't know why it doesn't look like this. It doesn't look good in Chrome. Let's do it this way. Ah, better. See, this is Firefox. Chrome won't show me the columns correctly. Our next class meeting is on 8/9. And originally we have a program number 1 due today. Program number 2 is due on 8/9, so finish that one up. Program number 3, that's the one you're going to wait with. You don't necessarily have to turn it in, but you're going to want to turn it in on 8/9 because you're all going to show up anyway on 8/9 because on 8/9 we have a midterm exam in class. The midterm exam is going to cover half of the class so far. It is going to be multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank, no code writing. You will not have to write source code. But I'm going to ask you questions about getters and setters. Like, what are they? I'm going to ask you questions about constructors. I'm going to ask you questions about objects and inheritance. An example question might be something like, for example, if I wanted to create an object called Tyrex, and I wanted to make sure that it was inherited from Dino, which syntax would I use? A, public whatever it is, Tyrex extends Dino, which is the correct answer. B, inherited from Dino. C, all the wrong answers next to it. I gave you the right answer. The keyword extends. Or, for example, I gave you which one of these methods looks like a constructor to you? And you pick out which one is the constructor. And you're like, how would I know which one was the constructor? Well, we're just using it automatically. How do I know what a constructor looks like? Well, let me show you what I'm talking about, actually. The constructor has the same name as the class. This class here is called stock. The constructor is called stock. All the ones that say stock on them are constructors. So we have this one here and we have this one here. There's two methods. They're actually constructors. You do not have to write a constructor, but the one that says string get name is not a constructor. It's a setter or a getter. Or the one that says void toString or something, I don't know, string toString, and not a constructor. The questions are supposed to be very straightforward. It's going to see what you've absorbed so far. Don't worry about it. I will curve it. If everybody fails it, everybody gets an A. Good question. That's an excellent question. The test will probably be like an hour, hour and a half. We'll probably, and oh yeah, the test will be given at 9 a.m. Okay, 9:30. 10? 10 to 12? And if you want, okay, actually that's fair enough. The class will start at 9 or 9:30, depending upon when people show up. The exam will start at 10 and run from 10 to 12, then we'll have lunch. Then we'll start in with assignment number 3 after lunch and get that done. I think that's a better plan. And those people who were here at 9:30 in the morning who got the extra credit points will get those points automatically on the midterm. You know who you are if you were here. I don't know how many points it will be yet because I haven't finished writing the test yet. But if you want to know what's going to be on it, what to study for, if you get the Deedle and Deedle text, if you can download it, I downloaded it, actually put it on a USB drive. Oh, by the way, if you still have one of my red USB drives, I want it back. Somebody took a red USB drive. Give it back. You can anonymously leave it on the table as you exit today. The exam will cover the content of basic object-oriented design, the concept of the object, the concept of Java, not everything, no model view controller. No model view controller, you can scratch that off the list. If we covered it and we talked about it in assignments number 1, 2, and 1 and 2, nothing on 3, no stacks, no queues. The content will be from assignment number 1 and assignment number 2, which is basic creating an object, making an instance of the object. I might ask you a question like, which one of these creates an instance of an object? And look at the code that we've been doing, and when we're creating instances of objects, and you'll see new in there, like stock, my stock is equal to new stock. Get the Deedle and Deedle book, thumb through the first couple of chapters on creating objects and using objects. You'll be just fine. If you can handle the concepts in assignment number 1 and assignment number 2 that we've done in class, you're going to ace it. So don't stress about it. And it's multiple guess, so you have at least the opportunity to guess. And I'll make it so it's easy guess, hopefully. We'll see what happens with that. Nobody's going to fail it. Nobody will fail it unless you just have been talking in the back of the room the entire time and you have no idea what's going on. Those people, they're going to fail it. All right, do we have questions before I set you free to roam the country? Go, roam the country. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Work. Do your day job. I'm just kidding. Oh, what do you got? I can go over there. Oh, and let's set it down. I can barely see it. Your mouse says. It says. Did you not create a constructor? Where's your stock? You want to look at your stock. You have name, shares, and price. Okay, go back to where we got name. Have you saved it recently? Yeah. Is that put your mouse over the red again? Maybe I pressed something wrong. Actually, just hover it around. Oh, here it is. It says the constructor stock string.
Oh, it's defined as double.
Oh.
I mean the price.
Integer, string, integer. String,
No, it says like the string integer constructor is defined, so you see the original.
String, integer.
Yeah, it's double.
Oh, integer. Put integer in there. I did. I don't know why.
It should be double.
It should be double. Actually.
Yeah, it should be double.
Well, why is yours coming out integer?
So maybe you can just add zeros to.
Put a decimal in there, maybe. Maybe your computer. Whoever did the number put dot 00. Put some sense in there. That shouldn't be. It's just like mine.
Yeah,
We'll see.
just the,
Hold on a second. Let me take a look. It should just be like the normal.
Yeah, normal.
It's really weird. Let's see what I have. string integer double. String integer double.
不知道肯定有 error 吗？
Stock. You have the same thing?
好像还是你那个 library 不平，所以你还是一个一个往里导的，你直接导入 program 可能会有问题。我也不知道你这个电脑是不是。之前我给你导那个不就是，你就直接重新建一个 project， 然后你把那个 Java 文件一个一个扔进去。
就是在 Word Workspace 里面建。
啊，你就直接 file， 然后重新建一个 new project 完了以后，
这个要删掉。
这个那边你那个文件有的话，你就删了就行。你文件原本 OK， 那就行。你就直接把它删了，整个 project 都删了，然后你新建一个 project 叫 assignment 2，然后把这几个 Java 文件
Okay, let's try this.
然后再把这个放到 Word。
所以你把那几个 Java 文件
Oh, because I have
一个导，
quotation.
一个一个扔到 project。
1, 2, 3. I have 1, 2.
那你评价技巧吗？
哦 ，it missing one。
Oh, I'm missing the quote right here.
走啊，拜拜。
有顺丰吗？
Why there are 4 variables?
Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe that's
Yeah,
one. 1, 2.
erase the zero.
No, that's a dot. 0, 0. 1, 2. Oh, that's right. I have too many. Ah, there we go. Okay, it's working now.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
Still have a question about
Okay.
the homework number 1.
Okay.
The homework number 1 in the instruction you
Yeah.
said is taking the temperature in from the Java, right?
Oh, we haven't done input output yet.
Yeah, but at the time like
System.
it's just said like you need to put in maybe 0 Celsius and
Mhm.
also maybe 32 Fahrenheit.
Oh, on the command line. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, just directly, how can we just parse? Because there's no space
You
between
have to
the.
use a split.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I need to like use this split for the last
Oh, you have to put a
character,
space.
right?
You,
And
you know what? It's
otherwise, I
it's
would
a bad assignment description
just.
because you can't do it. You have to put a space, and you have to go like a number space F. Space,
Okay, I
another
see.
number space F space.
I see.
If
Otherwise,
you
I
don't
would
know,
just.
you can't parse it
Mhm.
because you have to like use it.
Otherwise, I would
like,
just need to like split for the last like.
Do you know JavaScript?
Yeah,
It's very similar.
yeah,
It's split.
yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking about maybe there's another
Yeah.
like method to do
No,
that.
unfortunately, that's why I intended to pull that out. It's a really bad instruction.
Okay.
It's the description is really wrong.
Yeah, that's clear now.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Let's see. Oh, let me put this up on the website then. I thought